Right side to the 10 to the 5. Touchdown! 6. Going to the hoop. Puts it up. Puts it in. A fantastic play.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Magnolia Fields podcast. Tanner Marlar alongside Cody Blaszczak, as always. And Cody, we're neck deep in the football season, my guy.
It feels like it started like a week ago.
And we're already almost halfway through.
It's a fun thing, but it's kind of sad at the same. This is the thing about sports that gets me is we get so excited and then they fly by and it's just gone.
It's just
and
gone.
we got to wait another year.
Then we got to wait another year. But we do have basketball season, baseball. So we have things to subside.
Thankfully, it is laid out that way because if we had it all in like one 3-month period, we'd have a very boring 9 months of the year.
And a very hectic 3 months.
It'd be a fun 3 months, though.
It'd be wild. It'd be wild. Jumping straight into some Week 4 reactions here around the MHSAA schedule. Booneville and Ripley. This one went down to the wire, finished in overtime with a field goal from Booneville. Booneville got a 73-yard pick six in the third, and then another pick in the end zone in overtime to take this win. For Booneville, a team that really has kind of struggled early on, lost the Skunk Bowl to Baldwin. A big win here, but for Ripley, the same problems keep arising. You can defend, but you cannot score.
Yeah, and it feels like that's kind of year to year how it is for Ripley. Just the offense might be a little worse than years past. The defense, yeah. I mean, you lost by 3 to a team that put up 18, and holding a team to 18, if you ask me, in today's football is pretty solid.
Pretty good.
I mean,
in most high school football games, you probably win that matchup.
Yeah, it's just a tough year for Ripley. I mean, they're now 1-3. Booneville, not much better, sitting at 2-2, but just one of those years where the defense needs to be a little bit better, even though they're already great, to compensate for the offense. But the good thing, to me at least, the thing about a good defensive team, especially like Ripley, when you're only losing by 3 points or a possession, when you only lose those games like that, it means going forward that you still have a chance. So when you get deeper into the season with the district games that count, it might help you there. It just isn't helping at the moment.
I just look at the teams in that division and the offense they've got, and I don't know how Ripley wins it. I just don't. Even if they hold those teams, what are they going to hold them to? Holding either this Tisch County team or this Amory team to 21, I think that's the best you're going to be able to do against them. And I don't think Ripley scored more than 21 in a game thus far this year.
I think you're right. I just want to make sure I got this clear. Did you just give Tisch County credit?
Yeah, they can score.
Okay.
We'll get into them later, but they can score. Okay. They can score. Again, I'm going to pick against them every week, and by the end of it, I should get a ring when they win the state title.
If
I pick against them, it might be a win. So we'll see.
Well, that could be true.
On into some more reactions. Tupelo and Oxford. We saw Oxford in game 1, and they really kind of took it to Lafayette County, which they should win that game anyway, a 7A versus a 5A. But since then, it's been all downhill.
Yeah, it's one of those teams that their one win of the season, their 1-3, came in week 1. And, I mean, they just thumped Lafayette.
Yeah,
and I think that kind of speaks a little bit to Lafayette. But now that you see Oxford getting into the season and everything, yeah, just not a good year for them. And it doesn't get easier because they get Starkville this week.
They get Starkville this week. Now, that game we'll get into later. Starkville's going to be down some players and a head coach. But nonetheless,
it also doesn't help if you're Oxford when Tupelo's running back, Jaden Hill, has 203 on the ground with 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, but we know Jaden Hill's a special player. He's drawing FBS interest. He's drawing FBS offers. I think Mississippi State's got an offer extended to him right now. Just a tank, is low to the ground, is punching above his weight class, is quick, tough guy to bring down. We saw that last year, but, 203 and 3 scores on the ground is a lot, but if you're Oxford, I think the bigger thing here is you gave up 6 sacks. And they're not throwing the air out of the ball. They're not. That's almost every time they drop back is they're just getting pressure. And I think that Tupelo defense is arguably the best in 7A. I think that they've got the best defensive front in 7A. So I look at that and I'm like, yeah, I figured Tupelo would win that one. I'm surprised Tupelo didn't find the end zone more, but it looked like they kept it on the ground and tried to control time of possession. So
let's not forget that Oxford also has a sophomore quarterback that took his first high school snaps 4 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong.
So,
I mean, that plays into it. But if you're Oxford.
I'm not saying it solves everything if you have an older quarterback, but take some of that into account, at least when you see 6 sacks.
Well, that, and I think they're lacking on the offensive line. I think they're lacking at other skill positions. So, I mean, and the record reflects that. The record reflects it. Yeah, they can defend okay. I mean, you've got a couple really good athletes on that defensive side, but Tupelo just dominated this one. On into our next kind of matchup. We talked about this a little bit last week, at least on TikTok. I don't know if we really got to it on the show. Walnut and Belmont. Belmont puts up 40 and beats Walnut, and that Walnut offense was humming. This is our most requested matchup on TikTok last week. I think Walnut's still good. I think both can be true in this instance. I mean, Walnut's a smaller school. Belmont, good 3A school. Belmont's probably going to win that 1-3A division this year, especially with Kossuth being so down. I think it was a good matchup, and Belmont came out on top.
Belmont, just another one of those games where they dominated kind of both sides of the ball. Almost 300 team rush yards on top of 4 touchdowns on the ground. I think the big thing was, though, is the turnovers. Those 2 interceptions, I mean, turnovers are always a big piece in a game, but you get 2 turnovers and your passing game isn't nearly as good as your running game. It just really helps. And Belmont, 22 points is a big margin of victory.
That it is. And, Belmont, obviously, in the same district as Tishomingo County, not in the same division, but same county, that's a big rivalry. Who do you have in that one thus far? Because you're high on this Belmont team.
I do like Belmont. You're right. I am high on them. I don't want to talk about Tish County if we don't have to.
Well,
put it that way.
They get them October 25th.
It is coming up, but it's just like, Tanner, I think you have given them enough fuel for the rest of the season.
Well, I'm going to keep doing it.
Let's let them win on their own accord.
I'm going to keep doing it. Look, if I'm helping out, I'm helping out.
Well, you are. That can be fair. I think that'll be a fun one. Put it that way. Getting off of Belmont and Walnut real quick, just looking at Tish County. Tish County is one of those teams that in the past couple of weeks, because the competition has gotten stronger,
they've played better.
Well, they've been playing better, but obviously Strayhorn and Alcorn Central at the beginning of the season, not the greatest teams, but you're looking at only 1 possession wins and then the 10.2 possession win last week. So it's not that 30-point gap.
Yeah.
And if Tish beats Belmont, it's going to be one of those games.
I can see that.
I don't think they're going to thump Belmont, and I'm not sure Belmont would thump Tish County either.
I'm not either. I think that's going to be a close one. Last of the reactions from last week, Columbus over Lafayette 20-14. Lafayette starts 0-4 for the first time since 2017, in which they started 0-5. The Coach Hart, we thought in year 2 he would have his team playing a little bit better. Looks like he just lost so much talent last year and has not been able to make up for it.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to help Nick Thompson. He went 5 of 11. He had a total of 6 passing yards.
Yeah.
5 completions should not go for a total of 6 yards.
Nobody can get open.
Issue. The other issue is this. We just talked about they're 0-4. This is the first loss of the season that they lost by single digits. Yeah. Everything else, and it's not even that they lost by double digits. It's like 25 plus points that they're losing.
None of these games have been close.
Yeah, it hasn't been pretty, but hey, props to Columbus. First win of the season. I mean, you had 2 teams going in without a win, and Columbus comes out on top.
Yeah, and, for Columbus, you got to find a way to build off of it. I know they're trying to build something there in Columbus. Obviously, that program has had a little bit of a fall from grace since the Kylan Hill days and stuff like that. And it's a very passionate fan base, and I'm excited to see if they can build upon this program. But you got to win against Lafayette, so you're starting off somewhere.
Hey, a win's a win. You pick it up. Maybe it brings you some momentum.
It goes into the right column. We're going to get into some updated season predictions and some new outlooks on some squads here in just a moment. Stick with us on the other side of this break here on Magnolia Fields.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, you know who to call. Call me. Remember, one call, that's all.
Welcome to the Richard Schwartz and Associates Magnolia Field Studios. One call, that's all.
Back here from the Richard Schwartz and Associates Studios into some updated team predictions, Cody. We've got a lot to get to. Let's go ahead and dive in. South Pontotoc, an interesting case here early on. They're 2-2. They pick up a very, very close win against Bruce in week 1. They get thumped by Pontotoc 42-0 and will drop a close one to Moorville 17-14.
Well, the two teams we're about to go over, the one being South Pontotoc, our next one is Moorville, have some common opponents when you look at it and everything. So, yeah, like you said, 2-2. Week 3, not this past week, but the week before, they lost to Moorville by 3.
Yeah.
Moorville lost to Tish County last week.
By 10.
By 10. South Pontotoc gets Tish County this week.
Yeah, we're all playing each other here.
Yes, they are.
We're all playing each other here. So I mean, South, obviously, not the best year for them. I mean, you don't even put up points against Pontotoc, and I think North Pontotoc managed to at least find the end zone a couple times. So I look at the South Pontotoc team, and I think they still control their own destiny. Kind of, you're 500 going into week 5. You can come out of here 3-2 with some real momentum if you can beat Tish. So that's no short order, as we've come to discover.
I'll throw it on you like you throw it on me. What is your prediction for that? Because they did lose to a team that Tish just beat them by 10.
And look, I'm making this as a pick of reverse psychology at this point, because every time that I pick against Tish, they win. So I'm going to do it
the entire season.
Yes, the entire season. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to pick South Pontotoc, and my score prediction is going to be Tish 42, South Pontotoc 35. Tell me how that makes sense.
It doesn't. Which is the point.
Which is the point. On into the next team. Let's talk a little bit about Moorville. They came into this one 3-0, riding high. Moorville, we were actually just watching some film on Max Preps a little bit ago. Man, they sling it. They throw it around the yard. Yeah,
and we just mentioned it. Only loss of the season has come last week to Tish County, and I want to say that score was 40-30.
Yeah.
That 10-point loss, and quarterback Will McDaniels, I mean, 4 games into the season, 1,000 season pass yards.
He's already got 11 touchdown tosses. He's slinging it, dude. He's slinging it.
Hey, keep playing.
I want to see if we can make a Moorville game now, because I just want to watch somebody swing the pill.
Any high school quarterback that averages 250 yards in the air a game is a fun game to watch.
I want to watch. I want to watch.
We'll
get into some great quarterback play this week, and believe me,
we will.
Believe me, we've got an exciting last segment. But I mean, I look at this Moorville team. Anytime you kind of live and die with the arm of one guy, it's pretty tough. You still manage to put up points in this. When you put up 30, I think you need to expect a little more out of your defense. But I will say, Tishomingo County has always struggled in getting all the athletes at that school to play football. They've always had good athletes. Look at their baseball team. A couple years ago, they had a kid drafted who now plays for the Padres. There are athletes in those halls. The problem has always been they've had a hard time getting them to play football. And from what I've gathered over the last couple of weeks, this new coaching staff has finally got those guys bought in. And look at the production they're putting out. I mean, they just scored 40.
Props to the coaching staff for doing that. But, Tanner, the more I think about this situation, the more I think that you did your little I owe Tish County something, not an apology, but something.
Yeah.
I think you do owe these other schools, such as Moorville and Kossuth, apologies
For hyping them up so much.
for playing the game the way you have.
Well,
and
that's fair. I mean,
Tish-
look, Kossuth wasn't going to beat them either way with the way the offense is looking
that
out
was
there.
an overtime game, though.
It was an overtime game, but man, I mean, the defense over at Kossuth is still really good. They just can't score it. It's kind of like Ripley. I mean, that game was 14-0. You tell me. So I look at that one, and Moorville, I think, is still going to be fun to watch. Could surprise a lot of people. We'll just have to see. They need more out of the defense.
Either that or Will McDaniel just needs to have even more impressive games, but it doesn't get much more impressive
I
than
was
what
going to
he's
say,
been doing.
he's throwing it around the yard. On into Independence, 3-1 on the year. I like this Independence squad. Big wins over Byhalia, Water Valley, and Biggersville. They get Strayhorn this week, looking to go 4-1.
And it was a pretty big win over Biggersville last week as well.
Yeah,
I mean, a
and
16-point win. So
I think Biggersville could be uncrowned this year from the way things are looking. They haven't had near the start they did last season, and the absence of Jathan Hatch, who's now playing ball at Louisville, the college, is really starting to show itself. Going to be tough for them to repeat at this point, but Independence looks good, man.
and I think you could probably write in chalk 4-1.
I think so. I think so.
Strayhorn coming up. I think that's a safe bet.
I agree. Independence. I expect them to come out of this week 4-1. East Union, the Urchins. Now, we said this team is a little hot and cold on offense, and lately they've just been hot. They are putting up the points. They're 3-1. Wins over Alcorn Central, Bruce, and Tupelo Christian. And their next game is against Mantachie. Now, Mantachie, an interesting case. I think they dropped one to Smithfield last week. But nonetheless, still not a bad team. Could be a really good game.
Another team that we have mentioned a lot. The only loss for East Union was to Moorville. So,
Yes.
I mean, these teams we're looking at have all played each other essentially already. I mean, it's amazing when you look at that these teams are only sitting with like one loss. They're just beating up on each other as we're getting to that midway point in the season. And yeah, it'll be another fun one. Probably, in my opinion, though, one of the coolest mascots, the Urchins. I think that is absolutely awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I think the good thing is I like a bye where they're sitting at right about now. Week 5.
Yeah.
And then you get Mantachie, and then as we get closer, you get some district play. So I think
I like a good bye right here. Get healthy, get your mind right, get ready.
and the good thing is you come into the bye week with a dominating win, 49-14. Yeah, it was Alcorn Central, but
You still dominated.
mind is in the right space.
Yeah, and you got the young guys some time. You probably got to rest some older guys in that game too. So a chance to really get healthy and be in good shape when you play Mantachie. Another team preview, and this one interests me because I think highly of Itawamba. I think they've got great athletes. They're able to put up a lot of points. They skunked Lafayette. They beat Caledonia. They shut out both. They lose the first game of the season to New Hope. Was that a fluke? I don't know. But then on September 20th, this past week, they get riddled by New Albany. And I've said all year long, I think Braden Shettles is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the state. I think he's a better basketball player. But shout out Braden. I hope you see this. I played basketball with his older brother, Mitchell, who now plays at the Coast Guard Academy. Love the Shettles family. But he's got those guys rolling. New Albany is on a streak.
Don't you love a solid dual sport athlete?
Oh, God, yeah.
He, like you said, he is probably a little better at basketball. He's a ton of fun to watch on the court.
He maybe on paper he's better at football. I love watching the kid play basketball.
Yeah, he is. He's fun to watch play basketball. But when you started this out, I was curious how you were going to start it out because you have been quite high.
I'm high on Itawamba. I think that Braden Shettles has just got this offense running.
Well, like you said, puts up a lot of points. This is another one of those teams that has already through 4 games and 1,000-yard passer and John Austin Woods. He's got 10 touchdown tosses. I mean, really having a solid season thus far and maybe a little stronger competition towards the beginning of the season. And they've got Lewisburg up next. So
Not great.
not great. So we'll see where they go from there. But This has been a team you've been very high on all season
And I still
long.
think they can make it out of that division as the winners. You know, it's Amory, Ripley, Shannon, and Tish.
Well, which is also a good thing. I mean, you're picking up losses right now out of district.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that prepares you for district. So, yes, you want to win them, but it's not the stuff that's going to hurt you in the long run.
Yeah. And then on into, just before the break here, a team that has been requested on TikTok since I don't know when. Kirk Academy. They're 5-0. I don't know why people are surprised that Kirk Academy is 5-0. I mean, the reality is what the reality is, but, I mean, they've put up a lot of points. I mean, a lot of points.
Had a close one last week, 17-14 to Marshall Academy. And
Marshall's really good. Marshall's a good team. But Kirk is currently 5-0. They play Carroll Academy this week, who's 1-4. Should improve to 6-0. I think Kirk really could make another deep run, potentially hold another trophy at the end of the year.
the way it's going, it seems that might be the case.
It does. It does. We're going to take a quick break and then get into our game of the week. And boy, am I excited. All that and more on the other side of this break here on the Magnolia Fields podcast.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, you know who to call. Call me. Remember, one call, that's all.
Welcome back to the Magnolia Field Studios, brought to you by Richard Schwartz and Associates. One call, that's all.
Back here from the Richard Schwartz and Associates Studios. Cody, it's time to talk game of the week, and everybody can see it. The helmet in the center. The Louisville Wildcats, who are 4-0 on the season. We're headed to Louisville Friday night to watch them take on the best quarterback in the state by just about every metric, no matter how you slice it, Kamario Taylor. Louisville comes in 4-0, Knoxubee 2-2. Only 2 losses of the season to Starkville and West Point, who Louisville only has 1-point wins over both.
How can you not be excited?
Oh, my gosh. I think every media member that I've talked to will be there this weekend.
We will be there this weekend.
We'll be there this weekend. Obviously, all CBI, they're going to be there. I think TVA might even be sending some people down. I know all the recruiting guys are going to be in town. I'm excited.
It's just one of those games that it's hard not to get excited for. You get a team that last year, easily the best team in Mississippi, in Louisville, and they're been pushed around a little bit this year, had some close calls, are still undefeated, though. And what Max Prep says is number 24 in the state in Knoxubee County. Like you said, Kamario Taylor, it is shaping up to be a heck of a week, or a heck of a Friday.
I cannot wait. I mean, just listen to Kamario's stats on the season. 905 passing yards, averaging 16 yards of completion, which is insane to begin with. He's got 326 rushing yards already, and he's got 12 total touchdowns to his credit on the year. And I'm going to be honest with you, the man has little to no help. His little brother's a wide receiver and can go make plays, but he's just hurting for some weapons on offense. But when you are the weapon, when you're the weapon X, he's still going to carry you to some wins, especially when they get into 3A.
Yeah, it'll be. Listen, we're excited for this one. I mean, Tanner, you just talk about the way this kid can move.
Oh my gosh,
Dude is 6'5", listed at least 6'5", 200, and
he's heavier than 200.
I mean, he moves.
He moves. It sounds like I always hear. You ever hear about Julian Edelman talking about what it's like running next to Rob Gronkowski? It sounds like a Clydesdale. You can hear Kamario Taylor run. He runs that hard, and it's just so crazy to watch someone that size be able to move that fast.
Well, this is a matchup that they had last year as well. Louisville played Knoxubee County, all of that stuff. Tanner, do you remember the score of that game?
Not off the top of my head.
7-6.
Yeah, it was close. It was close.
It was a low-scoring game.
Yeah.
So, and this Knoxubee County team, they picked up a total of 5 losses all season long. 3 of them were early in the season to Starkville, West Point, like they've done this year.
Yeah.
along with Louisville. You lost one to Kemper County just by 2, and then you lost in that championship game to Winona by a possession.
And everybody's thinking that that's going to be the rematch this year is Knoxubee and Winona. I agree. Both of the team's best players are back. Both of them, oddly enough, committed to Mississippi State.
That is the case. There's nothing wrong with that.
Isn't that crazy?
I will say, though, and just the way things change over a season, teams losing players, getting some players, the 2 losses Knoxubee has picked up this year, same as last year early in the season, the margin of loss is a lot less.
Yeah.
It was 20 to West Point. They lost by 2 this year.
And I think a lot of that, too, is you got to look at the 2 teams they're playing. I think this Starkville team this year is worse than last year's, and we know this West Point team is not as good as last year's.
Correct, which is why I'm saying the things change. So
I think both can be true. I think that Knoxubee can be a little bit better under a little bit older Kamario Taylor, and I think that West Point, with a new coaching staff and a lot of fresh faces, can be worse. Starkville, obviously losing the amount of talent that they had, they're not going to be as good. They're still good. They're not going to be as good. Some updates on the Little Egg Bowl this week, which we're not going to be able to go to. Starkville head coach Chris Jones and 5 or 6 Starkville players suspended for that game. So keep your eye on the score out for the Little Egg Bowl.
if we could be at 2 places at once, that would be great.
That'd be awesome. That'd be great. That'd be great.
Maybe just, I got it. Play one at like noon and the other one at night.
Can we get a 9 a.m.? What's the Matt Rule's 9 a.m. kickoff thing? And he say, I don't know. We need a 9 a.m. kickoff. Give me a 9 a.m. Friday kickoff.
9 a.m.
I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll be there. Breakfast.
I'll let you get that sorted
breakfast
out.
at the stadium. I'll be there. I'm serious. Think about how cool it'd be to wake up at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning and be able to watch some football.
Oh, so you want it on Saturday, not on
Yeah.
Friday.
Play one Friday night, one Saturday morning.
Oh, okay. Okay, that I can get behind.
That's what I'm saying. Makes sense.
I don't know if the players would like that,
Get another day of rest.
but you got to be up real early.
You're up no earlier than you have to be for school.
Okay, you might be right. I don't know. Something about Friday Night Lights is special.
It's fun, but all I'm saying, I think it's a good idea. I think I've got a hold of a good one. Either way, like you said, Louisville ranked number 1 in Mississippi according to Max Preps. Knoxubee currently at what, 24?
24.
24, you said. So we got a top 25 matchup this week. What are your predictions?
To be completely honest, I would kill to see this game go like 70 apiece.
Oh my God. Can we get a shootout, please?
Unfortunately, I do not think that is going to be the case, but I still do think this does have an opportunity to be one of the best games we have been at all season long. Because it's his senior year, I think I'm going to have to go with Knoxubee. He has not gotten that one big win that they're not supposed to win yet in his senior year. I've got him taking down the Wildcats to give them their first loss in like 20 games.
It would be insane. That would be ridiculous.
I mean, as of dating back to last season, Louisville, I believe, is on a 19-game win streak.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
19-game win streak.
I find it hard to believe that with the help or the lack thereof that Kamario Taylor has, they're going to be able to beat this Louisville squad. For that reason, I'm going Louisville, but I think we're getting a low-scoring game. I think this could be a 21-20, 28-23, 24 type game.
Do you know what Louisville's win streak is right now, dating back to the 2022-23 season?
It's in the 20s.
30.
30. Yeah,
They
that
picked
tracks.
up their 30th consecutive win last week.
That tracks. They're good.
That's insane.
They're quite good.
30 consecutive games dating back this season, last season, and the year before. So 3 years.
Tyrone Shorter's got them boys playing.
And they
always got them boys playing.
Only game they lost that year was to Starkville, 21-20.
Yeah. Fun times. Fun times. Speaking of fun times, we're about out of fun times here today. As we're winding down, we've got our predictions in, and we cannot wait to get on the bus and head to Louisville this Friday. I needed to hurry up. But that's about all the time we've got this week. Thanks for watching or listening or however you're joining us here on the Magnolia Fields podcast.